Gentlemen, we got some new footage of Forza Horizon 6. Coincidentally, right after I posted that video, so sucks to suck, I guess. But let's dive into this, and then we are going to dive into how this could actually be on the Forza Horizon 6 map. I completely overlooked the fact that we have this motorsport map now. And sorry about the quality, Twitter sucks ass, I don't know what to tell you, it's just low quality. So this is the first actual relevant shot. And as this user pointed out, it does actually look pretty similar, so we might see some more stuff like this. But there's a lot more other locations from real life that are also in this trailer. Jumping over to Instagram for just a second because the quality is actually bearable to look at, I was gonna say there is a lot more detail I am seeing than was ever in the Horizon 5 map. Now, unfortunately, this is a pretty shitty aspect ratio, but at the end of the day, at least it's not Twitter. And this right here, as pointed out by the Reddit, is a real location actually. I just thought that was noteworthy, but to be honest, in my humble opinion, it doesn't really matter where stuff is, even if it is real, because at the end of the day, it's just a video game that's gonna cram everything into a small map. And you will see in this shot, and in a few others after it, that this is kind of the reason that I think Kaido could actually be on the map. Also, sorry if I said that horribly wrong. I don't know how to say these names, man. I'm not really good with any sort of Japanese name. And as pointed out by some people on Reddit, this is also a real location. But tying this all back, let's review Kaido now. So gentlemen, let us dig in because they gave us quite a few clips here that are literally just 2 frames long, but they do tell quite a bit of information. Okay, maybe not this one though, it just looks good. It doesn't really tell me a lot because the mountains are pretty much a giant blur. And I have to say that this lines up incredibly well with what I said was going to be on the north side of the map, aka a pretty mountainous region that you cannot cross. To be fair, this isn't perfect, but I do have to say, at least a little bit, these two line up. Maybe it's the glare messing with me, but there is kind of what looks like maybe a slope. I don't know, I feel like I'm reaching a little bit because it isn't one-to-one, to be fair. But this was 9 months ago, and I would imagine that they were still kind of working out the map, and they just wanted a rough terrain mesh to play around with, so that way they could have a background without putting in too much effort. But I do have to say, these two peaks line up kinda well. Again, not perfect, but it does have a pretty similar silhouette, which leads me to think that this will actually be on the map. And to add to my case, I feel like I am pretty confident in saying this looks like a little cutout for a road. But let's jump to maybe the biggest piece of evidence I have. Okay, I know what you're thinking. I'm crazy because this shot at face value doesn't really look like that much. But you know, I noticed this, that right here in this very specific section of the map, you see a line of trees turn into dirt. That doesn't happen unless there's a lake at the bottom, because then the trees have something stopping them from growing. That would be a perfect horizontal line. If there wasn't a lake here or something inhibiting their growth, they would just slowly thin out. But the fact that it just turns into a flat line is a little interesting to me. Now I know those points were weak, but I'm gonna be real, this point seems pretty rock solid to me, being if you look at these ridge lines, they are extremely similar. Granted, there is some differences, such as this ridgeline up at the top being maybe a little bit smoothed out compared to the motorsport variant. But again, you need to remember that this was in development. The map was not finished 9 months ago, and they were probably still working out some of the details, such as the hills in the background and how they would look. Maybe they decided that some jagged hills in the background were not as appealing to the eye as maybe more smooth looking hills. Editor me here, I just wanted to quickly say that, wow, I think I figured out where the stadium is already. So you see that right here in this hill, there is a clearing in the trees, and well, what do you know at the stadium? Same thing. Also, this really helps my point with where the water and the lake is gonna be, so yeah. Now, I'm not saying that this will 100% be the map, I am just saying that it is kind of likely that this could be a part of it, because if you look in front of this area right here, notice it looks like there's a lake, and there's kind of a lack of hills behind this ridge right here, thus implying there's a lower laying area that is relatively flat. And what do you notice in the motorsport screenshot? A gigantic lake. Now, granted, there is a hill right here, but how hard is it to carve out a hill inside of a development toolbox? Probably not that hard, and they could just connect it directly to Tokyo, which would be right here, which would line up extremely well with my theory. I know what you're thinking. Doesn't this make my map a little inaccurate because I don't have a giant lake? Yeah, it does, but I'll wait for the next batch of photos as this is barely enough information for me to warrant a change that gigantic. And if you've made it this far in the video, for me, please consider subbing because 99% of you guys are not subscribed, so it means a lot to me. Anyways, back to the video. Looking at the wider shot that is more low resolution, you do see that Tokyo is right there and it connects directly up to the lake. It just gets cropped out in the higher res version. As you can see in the high res version, there is the exact same lighting on that hill to the left and in the lower resolution shot where you can see some of the skyline. As to where some of the other locations are going to be, I'm going to be honest, I don't really have too much idea. I will say though that this area might actually go back further than I originally thought as to incorporate the lake section for the Torii Gate. Now, that could also be somewhere else, but given the shot we see, it looks like it lines up pretty well with Mount Fuji. As if these mountains are here, then just off to the left, Mount Fuji should be right there, as we have seen these hills before and we know how they should be laid out. We don't know how big the map is going to be yet, but unless they make this map extremely dense, like overly dense, I'm gonna say this map could easily be twice, if not 2.5x the size of Horizon 5, which if I remember, Horizon 5 was roughly 95 square miles, which means we could see a map that is potentially up to 200 if not 300 square miles, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I feel like we all forget one thing, being look how extremely dense the forest is. I'm gonna be honest, there's probably gonna be a large majority of the map that is off-road that you're not gonna be able to drive to because the trees are just gonna be so dense that you're gonna get stuck. That means that they don't have to spend time thinking about what's gonna be in between roads. They just have to say, well, they're not going to be able to get to this area, thus we don't have to detail it. We don't have to do anything to it, so we can lay out the road, put in a hill, cover it in trees and put in a visible wall, and you don't have to worry about everything in between, aka wasting time on useless parts of the map that people are never really going to be at. Which is something you see a lot in 5 and why it felt so dead, because instead of just making hills that people couldn't, drive through or over, they simply just made giant open areas or marginally decent jungles or swamps. But again, because of the Eliminator, they didn't make the forests super dense. But I feel like with 6, it doesn't seem like they're scared to do that. In fact, it fully looks like they're embracing the fact that the Eliminator is going to take a backseat this time around, which I think we can all collectively agree is a good thing because it ruined Horizon 5 because they designed the entire map around it. But yeah guys, just a short little video to touch on some of the new stuff that I have found. If you have anything else to add yourself or any ideas about the map, please drop a comment down below. But if you're new around here, consider subscribing and liking the video for your boy. But that'll be it guys. Anyways, peace.